Hello guys, and welcome to a new tutorial. Until now we learned to do so many things let me compile and run the program again. As you see, we had a button which we can control the stack widgets, which should be revealed or shown or switched by clicking the button. You see we could switch the buttons and so on, or the objects which we want to show. Of course, every button which or object which it is shown or revealed or is visible, we can give also some meaningful work, like for example this phone. If I click on it, says switch into computer, and now when you click the button, it says switch into phone, which means goes back to phone, which is actually a good thing. There is also one thing which I didn't notice. I thought I showed you everything, but I didn't. When we are talking about the transition duration, I forgot there is also a function called GTK GetTransition running. Returns whether the stack is currently in transition from one page to another. So basically you can call this function in a callback function, and you can check if the transition took 100% place. So if, for example, if you click the phone button, it will start the transition of revealing or changing the visibility of the phone to the computer, and that switch takes an amount of time which we decided in our program to be 3 seconds, and this time from 0 to 3 seconds it is basically monitored by this function. And it is also a property which is called transition running as well, which does the same thing. With the help of this property, you are going to monitor this behavior. Both of them does the same thing. I'm going to use now the property because I don't want to bore you again with functions. You can call the function and check in a callback for yourself, but probably you will know, or better say, you will want to know how you can check this property. For this, I want to tell you that you should first go to my GTK properties playlist and check all those properties video to understand exactly what properties means, because you need to understand what properties are. You need to understand what child properties are. As you can see, this widget has not only just properties, it has the child properties as well. This is very important. So now I'm going to use the property transition running, and I'm not going to set it with a GObjectSet function or something like this. I'm going to check the property itself with a notify signal. This means I want to be informed from my application when this thing happens and when this thing is done. Basically, if I run the program again, this thing happens at the moment when I click the phone button until the whole widget will be shown, the next one. So watch, I'm clicking now, says switch into computer, and now it is switched. I need to be informed about this behavior. So this is what we are going to do today. We are going to check this behavior. For this we need a G signal connect swap. I'm going to use swap because I'm interested only on the stack this time. And of course we need the transition running property. And if you checked already, like I said, my property widget, you should know that we need first to use notify and the double yeah, it's so funny name, isn't it? And then transition running, so double calls 2 times. Okay, now because we are monitoring the transition running and we want to be notified when something happens, we need of course a gcallback function. And no, not destroy. g callback function, and I'm going to call it run or running, whatever callback. It's your decision how you call it, isn't it? And then of course we are passing the stack again, because we need to we need to swap this one with this one, even if it's the same, because I don't want to use the button, or I'm not interested in another widget right now. Now let us create a running callback, because this is everything about what we need to do. And of course, if we check, we need to take care about one thing, what kind of property it is, and the how I say, the callback function which we need to create. So I'm going, because it is a gboolean, we are going to create a gboolean callback function. Running callback, and of course we need the GTK stack, of course, and of course the second, very important for you, just that's the reason why I'm telling you need to check my property, because the second argument should be a gparm spec, because this is actually the parameter which give us information about what we are monitoring, isn't it? You will understand if you follow the property playlist. I won't go into check. Now maybe let me say something. Now if I call gReturn is fail on stack, like we did already in all others function, and of course we are going to return true here, because we need to return something because of gboolean, you will see something interesting, which I'm not going to talk right now. You see, we get an error. It says we have a return with no value, but the function is a non-void function. So I'm not going to go in. I'm not going in detail now about this, because this is not the object of our tutorial. You can do it like if whatever. Let's say if GTK is stack, just to be sure that you get it, stack. You see, I'm going to compile it and run it, and you see we get this return with no value and function return non-void. Of course we're not going to go there right now, because it's not object of our tutorial. Now code block is freezing a little bit, so I need to wait. Okay, now it's fine again. So instead of casting it to void, you can just cast to void, because you don't need it. Or you can say for yourself, if GTK is stack, whatever, return false, for example. And of course if it's not, GTK stack is not, which will be definitely working fine for you. Anyway, we need a parameter spec to take care of it. So I'm going to remove it. I'm going to remove this one as well, and I'm going to let void stack, because we are not interested in this part right now. What we need to know it is that we are going to create a new static gboolean flag variable, which we are setting to false. And now because it is set to false the way how we need it, we're going to say if flag it is equal to false, which is true, isn't it? Then we are going to say, now watch g print, and here I'm going to use a new line and a tab. You will see in a second line %s, and then again a new line, and let's say name, and let us find a name for this one. So const gchar const again name, it's equal to gparam spec get name, because this is what we need. We need to get the name of that property, and we are going to pass the spec. Okay, so we say if flag is set to false, then print the name, we need to print the property which was which we are informed with the help of the notify signal. And of course we need to set the flag to true, else. And now watch, now we are going to say g print and this is very important thing which you need to understand. The transition is done. The transition is done. What exactly means, you'll see in a second. What do we have here? We have a running callback, which is called from the GTK Connects web. Once that the notify signal detects that the transitional running property suffers some changes, then it is the running callback function called, and this call does no check this time on the stack. We are just getting to void because I'm not interested in right now. I don't want to mess the thing right now. We are declaring a variable, a flag, a Boolean variable. We're setting to false, and then we are getting the name of the property which we are monitoring. In our case, we are interested in the transition running only, so we don't need to monitor all those properties. And once that we have the name, we are passing into the gprint call inside the if statement, and then we say the transition is done. What exactly this means? Let me check with you together. Now I want you to be sure. So for this, now I'm going to change the transition a little bit longer. Let's say 6 seconds. So now I just set the transition duration to 6,000, just to take a little bit longer so that I can talk with you in the same time when this happens. Now watch what exactly happens. I'm going to throw this down, and now, oh sorry, wrong one. I want to put it aside. Now watch. Once that I'm going to click on the button here, on the phone button here, then it will start the transition, which means it will start to reveal our phone, our computer, sorry, and until the transition is done, we need 6 seconds. What happened at this time and what you will do in this time, it depends on you. Now watch. I'm going to click the button now, and says transition is running, and you see it's switching, and then says switch to computer. And now when it's done, the transition is done. You see, let me do it again. Watch it very close. I'm going to click the button again, and it will come the transition running with the switching to phone. You see, because we are switching to phone, and once that is 100% switched, then the transition is done. You see, it took those 6 seconds. Of course, if you change the time to less time, you won't see much. Let's say 1 second. It will be so fast, then the transition is in 1 second done. Of course, this is true. Watch. Bam. Transition switch computer, the transition is done. Transition is done. You see? So basically, it happens very fast. Too fast for you, so that you get 2 times informed because of this. You see? So the transition takes place. Switching, switching, switching. As long as I'm pressing right here, you see only the transition, only the switching. You see? You don't see the transition done, because I don't let it to finish its job. Once that I release the mouse, as it says the transition is done, and now we are on the phone. The way how we see here, I said switching to the phone, and the phone is here, so which means it works fine. Anyway, I'm not the best teacher to explain you those things which I did right now, but I'm 100% sure that you understand what these things does and what we did today, because this is very important for you to understand that the way at least you see them, if you don't understand them the way I'm explaining you. Anyway, that's the way how you monitor the transition running property of the stack, and that's the way how you get informed from the moment when you start the transition until the transition is done, if you want to do something in the middle, or if you really want to know how much time it took, or not just monitoring by knowing the time which you set it. I think you understand what I'm talking about. Anyway, that being said, thank you guys for watching. If you like it, please subscribe, share with your friends and neighbors, and until next time, see you guys.